Hi, welcome to Clitorally Speaking, the podcast. I'm Michelle Doherty.
And I'm Emily Lane.
We are BFFs dedicated to bringing you conversations between girlfriends over a bottle of wine.
Oh, I am so excited about the wine part.
Oh, me too. So pull up a chair, grab your glass,
and let's get talking.
Well, hello there, Emily. How are you today?
Hello, Michelle. I am so good.
Oh,
yeah.
What makes you so good today?
Well, we have, as always, a great bottle of wine, but we have a guest that we've been really excited to bring on the show. So I'm really looking forward to how the conversation is going to unfold. And I'm just delighted to see our guest has brought her furry friend along for the show. So that, brings extra joy to me.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Definitely glad to hear that. So I'll just go ahead and introduce our guest then to our listeners. We have Lora DiCarlo, the CEO of Lora DiCarlo Company, which is a tech company from the West Coast. We here do our shows here in St. Louis, and so we're pretty excited about having another guest who's not from St. Louis and is in a very special industry.
That's right. And in fact, this guest we first learned about in a previous episode when we had a conversation with Denise Naughton about her visit. Exactly. Her visit to the Consumer Electronics Show. So
Lora, just go ahead and say hi to everybody so they can hear your voice.
Hi, everyone. It's actually Lora Haddock. Family name is DiCarlo. We're actually literally thinking about changing it back to DiCarlo right now because it's offering up some confusion.
Okay, sure. Well, we can refer to you as just Lora. And then we're good, right?
This is Enzo.
What is his name?
Enzo. Like Enzo Ferrari. He's fast like a Ferrari.
Oh, I love it. I have Iggy Pup here today too. So at some point I'll have to reach down and bring him up and they can meet.
Yeah, my dogs are still at home. And that's where I leave them on recording days because they are not quiet like Iggy Pup or Enzo.
Yes.
So we have Lora Haddock, also known as Lora DiCarlo.
That's right. And so before we dive too deep into her amazing industry, why don't we talk about the wine that we selected for today?
Sure. We were clued in about your Italian heritage and the fact that you're from the Sicily area, and by your PR director, Rachel. And so we searched with our partners at the wine merchant to pick a special wine related to the area your family's from anyway. And they suggested we drink this bottle of Lavico.
Yes. So this is Lavico. The grape is Nerello Mascalese. The proprietor is Duca di Salaparuta. I'm doing my best here. I'm who knows if I'm pronouncing it correctly. This is a 2012. This at the wine merchant is $15. I think pretty typically you'll find it in that $20 price point. But yes, it's just marvelous. I'm on the nose standpoint, I'm getting some roasted strawberry, black cherry, a little bit of that kind of funk in the earth that comes from that volcanic soil in the region. And I'm getting some beautiful violets on the palate, really nice minerality, some raspberry, vanilla, some tobacco, a little paprika. I'm really enjoying this so far. What about you?
I love it. I did do one little thing this weekend. I have some friends in Italy and I wanted to make sure that we pronounce this correctly. So I messaged my friend Isabella and I sent her a picture of the bottle. And I said, could you please, tell me how to pronounce this? And so, excuse me. We have a sound engineer who will take care of all this.
Maybe like repeat.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, I hate it when it like hangs in the back of your throat,
Yeah, that's the worst.
Excuse me.
There you get it.
Oh, all right. Well,
Hairball.
Hairball. Okay. So I did this thing this weekend in preparation for our show today, and I wanted to make sure that we pronounced this bottle correctly. I have friends in Italy, and I reached out to my friend Isabella, and I sent her a picture of this bottle of wine, and I said, Isabella, can you let me know how to pronounce it? And so she sent back this lovely audio message, and we're going to play it for you guys here right now, so we can all know how to say this Lavico correctly.
Hello, Mish. The pronunciation is Lavico Nerello Mascalese. It's a very good wine. Lavico comes from, I don't know. You know the volcano, when it flows, something really hot. We call it lava. So Lavico means a wine obtained from a ground near a volcano. Okay, probably you didn't understand anything. I'm sorry, but the pronunciation is Lavico.
So it's Lavico.
Lavico.
You got it? Lavico. And yes, we did
Beautiful.
understand everything that you said, Isabella.
Yes,
It's
absolutely.
all good. And thank you so much and for giving us your permission to use the audio message as well as the wonderful explanation of this bottle of wine.
So, Michelle, what kind of panty is this wine?
Well, I've had a few sips of it, and it's really tasty.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the way it smells. That doesn't mean anything about the panty, though. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm gonna have to think a little bit. I mean, it's like spicy to me.
Mm-hmm.
But
got
it's
some
light.
attitude.
It's got some attitude.
Mm-hmm.
It's a strong wine. I see like a pair of panties that make you feel in not necessarily invisible, not like a Wonder Woman panty, but like a sexy, invincible sort of panty that it doesn't matter what you're going to do, you're going to be able to take on the world and kick ass at it.
I really, really want those panties.
Yeah, well, they're in research and design right now.
Well, maybe that's something that Laura's team can take on.
Yeah. So that's where I am right now. I might change it as we go along on the episode as I drink some more.
As it opens up. Laura, what are you drinking today?
Well, I just went and picked this up, and looks like it's from La Gagera Estates. But it's from Abruzzo, Italia. Okay. So I'm actually not familiar with that region at all. I haven't been back to Sicilia for a long time.
Yeah.
I try to head out there this summer because I kiteboard. And we were gonna head over to Sicily and do some kiteboarding, but work is a little busy.
Right.
I would expect, but I have no idea what kiteboarding is. I don't. I'm sorry. Can we do it on the Mississippi River?
Oh no. So it's kite surfing, kiteboarding. You literally have like a big parachute-like kite.
So is it different than like windsurfing, or is it the same concept as windsurfing on a surfboard or like a sail?
This windsurfing was kind of a prequel to kiteboarding. I actually have a bunch of books right here, but it's you have like a big huge wind sail that's literally a kite that you fly up in the air somewhere between 30 and 50 feet off up above you, and it looks like a big parachute, and it just drags you along the water on your board. Wow. It's like wakeboarding with a giant kite, and it's fabulous.
Are you strapped to your board are your feet strapped to the board, or you have paddle board and you just have to hold on?
So it's about the same size as a wakeboard or a snowboard. Okay. So there are boards you can strap in. You can put your boots on. But if you're really good, I don't think I'm that good. You can see people getting as much as like 20, 30, 40, and 50 feet of air straight up in the air, and they fly with their kites up above the water and do all sorts of crazy tricks. You can ride like a mini surfboard. I've got a mini surfboard. I've got a what's called a twin tip board, but I don't have a booted board yet. And I probably want to make sure I don't kill myself first.
So do you
there's
travel with those, or is it something that you can find easily when you do travel?
If you're going to a place that has that's well known, it's really windy and is well known for kiteboarding, then a lot of the times you can find a kite school that will have gear. So I have a ton of gear, but it's also not always advantageous to travel with it. Sorry, my dog is also like, will you please play with me? Little fuzzy hot dog. He's just like, Mom. I'm like, dude, Mom's busy.
Now, he's a smaller dog. Are you able to travel with him?
He goes everywhere. He is a purse, backpack, whatever, what have you, planes, trains, automobiles. Rides on my back when I go mountain bike riding and when I go road bike riding. And actually, he's done it when I've gone cross-country skiing too, which is really amusing.
I have a basket on my bike for Iggy Pup, and that's on the front side of it. And he loves to go bike riding. So, yeah.
Aren't you a little concerned that that people think that you're the Wicked Witch of the West when you ride around on your bicycle with, Toto or something in your front basket?
I don't care.
We are here in Missouri with a bunch of tornadoes.
That's just something that doesn't bother me.
Be careful. If people start telling you about monkeys flying behind you or anything like that, you just be careful.
I'll take cover. Yeah.
Hide Iggy Pup. Keep him safe. Well, I am absolutely fascinated by this idea of kiteboarding. I'm going to be checking it out on YouTube. And
I'm wondering if I have a magazine right here. I can just show you what the kite looks like. Just a second.
Sure. Oh, let's take a little sip of our wine.
Yeah.
It's
so
really
when you're
good.
in Italy this summer, Michelle, maybe you'll have to give it a try. I think that would be a fun thing for you and your daughter.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seeing me fly up in the air 20 miles above. No.
Your first week, like you have to take like lessons, or you're gonna have a bad time.
And I probably have to sign a whole bunch of waivers too.
Yeah. Like the whole first week, you pretty much just eat shit in salt water.
Oh, good.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But when you get the hang of it, that's my favorite thing in the whole world next to sex toys. If you've ever seen like those are for people that are riding a foil board. So you can also, there are boards that actually have a hydrofoil on the bottom and will actually lift the boarder up above the water, and you ride above the water, and it's pretty intense. But
we'll we'll share some photos on our blog just in case people are like, what is this?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's stuff about it on YouTube.
So Lora, you had mentioned that work is kind of crazy right now. When did you start your company? And why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about your company?
So we founded the company in October of 2017. So we're coming up on 2 years this fall. And Enzo, you've got to stop. So I actually started with the idea because I had a really intense blended orgasm, and that's when you actually stimulate both the clitoris and the G-spot at the same time. And it was so intense that it actually like knocked me off the bed, and I just kind of lay there on the floor and was like, how do I do that again? And so what we're doing is we're actually stimulating the clitoris and the G-spot at the same time. Most people don't understand that the G-spot is actually a part of the clitoris. It's made up of the same erogenous tissue. So the clitoris is a little bit that you do see, and then the body of the clitoris is actually much larger than most people realize. It's kind of shaped like some people say a wishbone. I think it looks like a pterodactyl. It's shaped kind of like that, and there's the little glands that you know about, and then it actually stretches out underneath the labia majora and the labia minora, And there's a small bundle of nerves that coalesce in just inside the anterior wall of the vaginal canal, and that's where the G-spot is. And if you stimulate both those suckers at the same time, your head will literally fall off.
It's pretty fabulous. Yeah.
So when you had this orgasm, you immediately thought this is a great way to make money?
No, it was just like, I want to do that again. How do I do that without somebody else? Like, because really the only way you can do it right now is if you have either two toys and you know exactly what you're doing, you know a lot about your own erogenous physiology, or you have a really talented partner. Those are really hard to come by. So
I agree. Yeah.
I was looking for, products on the market that could do this, and there's like, you've heard of the rabbit vibrator. It doesn't do it. It's not the same thing. And so you actually need a very human-like touch, a come hither motion, if you will, over the top of the G-spot. And the clitoris is very sensitive. So like, I don't like using vibrators there. It doesn't do it for me.
It can hurt, right? If it, yeah.
It can cause desensitization. And it's just overwhelming, and it's not the right kind of stimulation. So what we ended up doing is I wanted something that fit a large span of people, not just me.
Okay.
So I
actually going to be my next question, because like everybody's physiology is so different. I mean, just looking at a woman's vagina, like they are so varied, which makes me think that the vulva,
yeah, so awesome.
So thinking about like where that crux of all those nerves are from woman to woman, I imagine is probably pretty varied.
Yeah. So how we actually solved this problem was I actually went and asked every person that would listen, where's your clitoris? Where's your G-spot? And I literally got all of these data points because they don't exist. Nobody has ever gathered this data that I could find. And I mean, there's another issue.
Right. When you were gathering all this information, I'm just curious, did you find that like, even though we're all different, did we kind of fall into certain categories? Like you had this, like, 70% of women are like this and 20%, or, I mean, we weren't so varied that you have a million different ones, but
what I found was that there's a range of data, and we can't hit all of the ranges because there are some extremes, but I can hit from about 10% to 90% of everybody within that range. So we found this spectrum, and I was able to create a design that actually could conform and be customizable to fit all of those people and hit them in all of the right spots, because they could customize it to their own personal preference. So we've made a completely customizable product, and then in doing so, I wanted the entire thing to be hands-free. So we added a couple of other interesting things to the patent that enabled it to actually be completely hands-free. So it goes inside, it actually swells slightly so that it stays put within the vaginal canal, and it strokes the G-spot using a come-hither biomimetic motion. So we've completely eliminated the use of vibration in favor for biomimicry, or the mimicry of human motions, or we wanted something that felt like a real partner. Like you want that real experience.
Yeah, without all of his baggage. Right? Yeah, that's nice.
Story.
I'm curious. It's interesting that it swells, like, imagining like as you're relaxing into an orgasm, coming, so to speak. So your body kind of opens up a little bit, but then I also notice, like, after an orgasm, things kind of tighten up. Like, does it, knowing that it's now bigger than it was when it went in, does it also like get smaller, or like, how do you,
entirely customizable. So like for everybody that's different. Some people that they don't have that reaction after having an orgasm. So it's like I said, every single function is completely customizable. So kind of choose your own adventure.
Wow. Yeah.
So I know when we talked with Rachel, she was like, there are some things we won't talk about because it's trade secrets and things of that nature. And so anything that we ask that you say, hey, I can't tell you, that's totally fine. We understand. But what I'm curious about is when you went through and you were asking all these women to, answer your survey or, to take part in whatever research you were doing, what was the reaction of the women that were participating? Were they like so grateful? Were they thankful? Were they curious, eager?
Do most women know what a blended orgasm is?
I didn't. I didn't until we got ready for your show.
You'd be surprised. A lot of I've even talked to women in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and into their 70s that have never had an orgasm, period.
What?
And that is, to me, that's not acceptable. So like it's also, we're trying to close that orgasm gap. Like women
And
deserve.
is that due to like masturbation shame?
I think so. It's mostly, it's almost 100%. It's how we shame people around sex, sexuality, masturbation, and the use of toys. We don't talk about it. Shame would be the perfect word that I would stamp on this. It's a huge stigma wrapped all the way around our conversations around sex.
For women.
And, oh yeah, yeah. And males are allowed to be explicitly sexual and nobody bats an eye. But when a woman wants to talk about, her clitoris, people go, well, that's just unacceptable.
Right.
I'm so over that.
They giggle nervously, and even like some women do,
Oh yeah, a lot of them still do because they grew up with that stigma. It's what they're used to. It's par for the course. So a lot of the people that I talk to, for the most part, I got a very welcoming, very excited kind of response. Seldom did I ever have anybody, almost no one, I think maybe one person was turned off by the idea, and was clearly very shameful about it. And I talked to a lot of people about their vaginas. So, but for the most part, the closest to true shame I got was that one person, and then most of everyone was just a little bit nervous about it. But when I talk about it in a very, very open fashion, and I'm kind of an open book. Like, ask me all the questions. I can give you as many answers as possible. But as soon as you talk about it in that very kind of matter of fact approach, most people kind of loosen up and they go, oh, I want to talk about this. Nobody talks about it. And I always think about it. We're always thinking about it. We're always like, we like inject tons of sexuality into advertisements, into the way that we advertise to the world, and the way that we try to sell products that aren't even sexually charged. But we don't talk about it. Yeah. So it's always very refreshing for most of the people that I talk to. They kind of blossom a little bit and they go, oh, I like talking about this. Keep going.
It's empowering to embrace your own sexuality.
Yes. Yeah.
It can be intimidating though too for some people, because if they've lived their whole life that being something that's done in the privacy of your bedroom with the lights off, under dark covers, and quiet, don't ever scream out, don't ever enjoy it, and it's not, if you're not doing it to make a baby, it can be intimidating to become get divorced in your 30s or something, and now you're like, oh, I don't know how to do this, and I want to have a great time, or I don't have a sex toy because my husband didn't like those things, right. Or I mean, there's
I think I remember my mom at one point had an electric toothbrush, and her husband thought that it was a vibrator, and he was like, what are you doing with this? I cannot believe that you have this. Like, I'm good enough, I think that was...
What, are you going to brush my teeth or what?
I thought that was so funny on multiple levels,
They actually make attachments. I've heard of like attachments being made for that purpose, which is hilarious, because we actually kind of stumbled upon this at a later point when my CFO has the worst product ideas ever. He's the most like an amazing mentor, an amazing business mentor, but he will blurt out the most asinine ideas. And he was like, we should make attachments for vibrating toothbrushes. And I was like, that's a terrible idea. Apparently somebody did it anyway. But I mean, what you're talking about is classic, like, Madonna whore complex, where women are expected to be very chaste when in certain situations, and then we're expected to be overtly sexual when it suits men. And you look at young women, particularly like people that adhere to certain religions, that they're expected to be very prim and proper and not know anything about what goes on in the bedroom. And then as soon as they get married, they're expected to be a slut in the bedroom and know everything. And it just, that doesn't quite make sense to me.
No, I mean, if you're not enjoying your sex life, what's going to motivate you to want to have sex too? I mean, that's, I think I definitely dealt with that in my younger years, of trying to find that where you and me and my partner were on the same page with what actually pleased me. And I've found that men are often, they don't want to hear it. They want to feel like they're amazing. And so this idea that they're not amazing, that they're not, that they don't have all the answers, can be very intimidating to them. And it's hard for women. It was hard for me to, bring my voice forward and say, I really want you to touch me here.
Right.
Or and thankfully you knew you wanted him to touch you there, because a lot of women don't know that they,
true.
If you touch me there, I'll feel that. I'll feel good like that. And I also find that some men are intimidated if you're a woman who does know what she wants. Right. And then you're like, no, that's not it. No, it's not quite it either. No, you're going to have to,
here, let me show you.
Right.
And it's we get the same kind of reaction from folks. Males are either, it's one way or the other. They're either intimidated by it, or they are like very welcoming, and they're like, I've gotten messages from one of my favorites. It was like a one-liner email that somebody sent into our Hello account, and it just said, like, I am not intimidated. Yes, I want one for my wife. She deserves this.
Awesome.
Yes. And I was like, this is hilarious. And that's it. And they're either really excited about it because they get it, or they don't, and they're intimidated by it. And the thing is that when you have a product, because like you said earlier, a lot of women don't even know how to get there, but this product allows you to learn and how to teach yourself and learn more about your own body, because it's customizable. So you can figure out, like, because it's not like a one size fits all. And the same thing goes with all the functions and the frequencies and the speeds and how that works. And the same thing with how it inflates. How big does it get? How comfortable are you with that? That's up to you. But when you can dial that in yourself, you can turn around and you can tell your partner. And you can tell your partner exactly how you like it. And that brings people closer together. That makes him a better partner. So
right.
Be intimidated by that.
Well, I think it's absolutely wonderful to be able to give this to women who don't necessarily, for all women, and they don't have to have a partner, so that they too can enjoy these orgasms that, blended orgasms that, knock your socks off and off the side of the bed. Because, I mean, how depressing is it when you think that this is possible out there, yet I'm not with anybody, and I'm not acrobatic and able to, coordinate 3 or 4 toys at the same time, with a remote control. I mean, that's a lot of work. And, I'm nearly 50. And so I'd give up. I'd be like, well, yeah. I need my sleep,
But the hands-free aspect is also a big deal, because like when you start getting to that age, I've had women in their 70s send us emails. Is it ready yet? Because I've been waiting like my whole life for this. Please tell me it's ready soon before I go. And but women that have arthritis, women that have physical handicaps, that can't reach that far, that can't hold on, that have pain, that's why it's hands-free.
Yeah.
I mean, there are just better things to be doing with your hands.
Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of times people look at bringing toys into a situation, and they look at it as more of a, you use this by yourself kind of thing. But I mean, it's something that you very well could use with your partner. Now, hands free, there's plenty of things you can be doing together.
Or you can still be
Yeah.
texting. I mean, you can still take care of, like, answer your emails and stuff. I mean, who says you have to stop working?
Right.
Well, I mean, it's about self-care. And I was actually just thinking the other day, because somebody asked me about, how do you get into the right mindset? For me, everybody's a little bit different, but I mean, for most women, it's a large percentage of being able to orgasm is mental. So if I want to be able to get into that mindset, it's the same thing like when I meditate. I can't meditate if I have my hands are doing anything. It's just
Right.
having your hands free gives you that ability to really go deep inside yourself and actually and mentally explore what's going on in your body instead of being distracted.
Right.
So I mean, for me, it's I can kind of go down and like I've been able to like give myself orgasms just with very little stimulation and mostly thought and concentration alone. But let's face it, most people just don't feel like they're even allowed to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well, so we learned early on in one of our episodes, if you don't use it, you lose it. And so I'm wondering if, having blended orgasms more often, does having orgasm, I don't know, more frequently, is it easier? Is it almost like, that muscle, like I'm exercising it, I'm having orgasms regularly, so then I can peak with greater ease?
I find that it's a little bit it's muscle memory, and it's also it's practice too.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that when you're looking at couples or you're looking at partnered folks that are having issues with stimulating libido, you give her an orgasm, they're going to want to have it again.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and you literally can increase your libido. I mean, it's like anything else. We're human beings. We get addicted to all sorts of things, and sex is one of them. But having an addiction to that euphoric feeling and to the chemistry that goes off when you have an orgasm, that's very real. And the more you do that, the more you want it, and the better at it you want to be. And that can be really good for sexual relationships.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So were you with a partner when you had your first blended orgasm?
Yes.
You were. And so is this something that partner then remembered that skill and was able to bring back into practice often? Or is it something that you were then able to train others? And tell me about your process, because I can tell you, I'll share my first blended orgasm experience. And
this particular individual knew exactly what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that is exactly what they were aiming for, and they got exactly what they wanted. And it's it's really amazing how satisfying that is to be the person that can deliver that kind of orgasm.
Mm-hmm.
I love giving orgasms. It's the best feeling ever. It's the same it's that same feeling of like gratification when you can help someone, because it's not easy. But when I started to really understand how to do that, I was able to I've been able to train others to do that. And I've trained a few.
Yeah.
Well, I have to agree with the ability to give other people orgasms. It's very powerful. You feel very like in control and sort of almost godlike, right? When you're able to give an amazing orgasm, and usually like, so yeah, like top 5, right? Those are top 5.
Yeah.
All 5 spots, yeah. But on the reverse, sometimes I found when you've had like an incredible orgasm with somebody else, like, and you've been the recipient of it, and if it was a fluke, then now they have like even more pressure on themselves to try to do it again. And you're like, I don't know what you did, and I can't describe it. No, you were here, you were there. And then there's just too much tension, and you're just like, fine, just stop, just stop already.
Yeah.
Because they also expect you to have your orgasm in an amount of time,
timely manner,
convenient to them.
Yes, that's befitting to their schedule.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Getting the sun's going down.
I think it's so frustrating to lose your orgasm. Like,
Oh, you're right there.
know,
You're right there. And they're like, oh, I'm not.
I know. I have actually I've actually had tears of like, I can't believe I can't have an orgasm. You know, it's just so disappointing.
That's the most frustrating thing in the world. I've literally like I will keep going too. And I've like, you're not gonna get there. We've been doing this for a long time. Like, I'm not done yet.
My hand is cramping.
Yeah, I know. They give up too quickly.
They do give up quickly. And I tell you what, the biggest turn off for me is if, someone's trying to give, working on giving me an orgasm, and he starts to sigh. And it's just like, yeah. That's it. I mean, I'm done, and now you have accomplished exactly what you wanted to do. You didn't want to
shut it down.
You shut it all down.
Right.
Because, you got yours, because we have, unfortunately, we as women, we have to like work within like a 3-minute window sometimes with these men. Like, oh, great, you came.
Yeah.
Well, what are we going to do with the rest of the 4 hours? What are we going to do? I mean, this was like 5 minutes,
Yeah, it's frustrating. I had my first blended orgasm. It was several years ago now. But it was a very similar experience to yours, Laura, where I was just like, I actually didn't even know it could happen in that way, and so for me, I was like, what's happening, and the floodgates opened, and it was shocking, but also the most euphoric thing I have ever felt up until that point. And so I, pretty much after that was just chasing that feeling. And I was, that was at a time that the same thing, the gentleman knew exactly how to produce that result. And that was not a long-lived relationship. So, and it's something that I haven't been able to replicate. Like, I've got videos on it and all this stuff. And I still can't. I'm like,
I wonder if it's because guys aren't really like, too keen on the fact when you get pulled, like, so this is how my prior boyfriend got me off. And if you could just do exactly what he did, they have a tendency to be like, that's that other guy. I'm not him,
Right. I know. And it's just a total turn off for them. And they're like, oh, well, I'm not good enough. And it's like, oh, criminy. Like,
yeah. Again, my orgasm is dependent upon how you feel about yourself, apparently.
It's a therapy session, really.
I'll be right there.
Sure. Well, we're going to take a real quick break right now, and we'll refresh our glasses, and we will be right back. I got to take this off my ears for a moment. And
Your
get some
ears
air.
are getting hot.
Yeah. Now, and sure, well, we're
so fun.
Lora Haddock, but Lora DiCarlo. Yeah. You guys are probably here.
I'll be right there.
Sure.
Yeah. I'll be right there.
We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out.
Sure. Well, we're gonna take a real Ose Massager, OSE.
It's a therapy session, really.
Sure. Well, we're gonna take a real quick break. We're just taking a quick break here.
Need some wine, Michelle?
Yeah, this is so good. Did you get some, Sam? Lavico?
It's very good.
No,
Oh, yeah,
you were drinking the wine for your session.
I haven't touched it. I was scared.
You want to have a sip? I'm not sick or anything like that.
Yeah.
Let me put this closer to you. Like LoraDiCarlo.com. LoraDiCarlo.com.
Our friend Melissa is in the studio. She's going to be on the episode after you. Mm-hmm. And she's very intrigued by our conversation. So,
sure. Like, are you talking about vagina?
Yeah. She does women's health and works on vaginas. So
vagina work.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So our male sound engineer, Sam, is going to have like 3 hours of nothing but vagina talk and orgasms. He's so numb to it.
Every Monday.
It's cold
Thank
Monday.
you, Sam.
All right, should we go back in? Are we ready?
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
ready.
Wonderful. Well, we are back, and we were just kind of talking about the product name while we were on break, which is called Ose, which means bold, right? In Italian, is that correct?
Well, it could translate to bold. It means more particularly risque.
Ooh, even better. Yeah. Okay. Well, that was what inspired our wine. We wanted to go not only to your region, but we wanted to find something that was, a little sassy and bold to support our conversation. Michelle, do you have an update on your description? Are you still feeling that these panties are,
they're black and they're determined and they probably have a little hands-free going on,
I love it. I love it.
Panties that give you orgasms. Is that going to be the next product, hopefully?
We actually have 3 more in the pipeline right now. We have 3 more coming out within very shortly after Ose is released. So
when
one
is Ose going to be released?
This fall. So we will actually have a pre-sale going on this summer. If you go to our website and you sign up for the newsletter, then you'll get put on the notification list for when that pre-sale starts. And so you can get it earlier, guarantee that you can get it because
yeah.
That's what you should do.
Yeah, I wonder if you'll sell out right away.
I imagine.
And then you have to wait.
What's your price point?
It's going to be close to $290.
Mm-hmm.
Which is actually very competitive for this marketplace. It's for a more upscale product in this space. Most of those products that are in the same space only do one thing. This does
4. Oh my God.
So,
and I guarantee you, like we're talking about, okay, what's the warranty on this thing, and how many hours does it last, and so I have a team over in China right now working with our manufacturer, and they're based out of London actually. But my joke was, well, if somebody can break this thing if somebody actually uses this thing over the amount of allotted hours in the first 2 to 5 years, I will send them a new one and send them a trophy.
Yeah, you've done your job, right? Yeah. Yeah. So after my experience, I went looking for products that could deliver that kind of, I was really looking for something, and, I didn't find it, but I found something that was really quite nice that focused on the G-spot, and it's no longer working, which is very sad. It has one of those magnetic chargers, and I don't know, it just stopped working.
Yeah.
Not charge anymore. So,
well, I think if you buy this, you don't need anything else.
I know.
Ever again, right?
That's why I'm on the list.
Well, there are other kinds of. There are many erogenous zones. There's actually another one, not just the G-spot, but if you go in deeper, there's one called the anterior fornix erogenous zone, which is right at the front where the fornix and the vaginal canal meet. Mm-hmm. And that one is a very, very intense orgasm as well. So we've got a long line of products that we're looking at releasing. The first couple are not, they're a little bit more drawn back. We're doing a clitoral stimulator that's hands-free and working on getting that profile really nice and slim. And using that same technology that we've created. And we've got another one that's coming down the pipeline that is clitoral and has a little bit of G-spot stimulation that can be used during intercourse. And we have another one that you can pretty much use anywhere, because there are a lot more erogenous zones than just in your reproductive area.
Wow. Okay.
The brain is the largest erogenous zone.
Well, that's very familiar. Yeah. So I'm curious. I remember when we first learned about you, you had won an award for engineering, robotics and engineering. Is that right? At the Consumer Electronics Show. And then I believe the award was rescinded because of the product being considered immoral. Is that correct?
They used a couple of choice words were immoral, obscene, profane was one of them.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I mean, there are plenty of products at the show that appeal to men, right?
I guess what they're saying is that a female orgasm is immoral, obscene, and profane.
That's it. That was immediately, I was like, what's obscene about my vagina? But you can go to their show and literally go put on a VR headset and watch porn.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh, yeah.
and we actually met somebody that went to the show, and went to that particular booth, and they asked her, do you want the male version or do you want the female perspective? And she was like, wow, you have a female perspective? I want to try it.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I can't believe you guys are doing this. That's so neat. She put the headset on, and you know what she saw?
The ceiling.
Probably better. No, she's two females, two women having sex.
Oh, well, that makes sense. I mean,
Right?
women know how to please each other. I can see
Yeah.
where that would.
Apparently that's what all women want. I mean,
Yeah, apparently the idea of a
Yeah.
guy taking care of a woman, making her very, very happy and pleasured isn't what women
It doesn't exist.
Women
No.
don't want that fantasy.
Oh no.
You're right.
So yeah, we it was pretty devastating, especially to my engineering team. Like they were, when we got the award, just they hit the roof.
Right.
They
Is that tied to a cash award also?
no,
No.
it's mostly the accolades, but the Consumer Electronics Show is one of the biggest tech shows in the world. So to get an honorary award, innovation award from the show it's kind of a big deal. So especially when you've got real tech that you're pushing, and we were able to spin up and iterate into a product from nothing, just a concept, all the way to a prototype within a year and a half.
And that's impressive.
That's pretty. Those are breakneck speeds. And so my senior mechatronics engineer, she's a fabulous woman. She specializes in has expertise in AI and microrobotics. She hit the roof. She was so excited when we got this, and it was
How big is your team?
so up until right about end of December, we had a team of probably about 7. And we just hired on our 14th today.
Oh my
Not
gosh.
today. Yeah.
Wow. So, just a couple of years ago, you had the idea to make this company happen. And the fact that you did win this prestigious award, the fact that you're in production and it's coming out this fall and you are receiving international attention. It is incredibly impressive to me. It shows how badly this product is needed, but it's also really, it is hard work to start a company and build it as fast as you have in 2 years. Have you gotten some good support from venture capital, or how have you come so far so fast?
No VC yet. I have a secret weapon. I do have my CFO is actually also my mentor, and he is one of the most amazing business people I've ever met, and I've learned a lot from him. I've also learned that I'm a perfectionist. I'm a woman. I also have a ton of imposter syndrome. So like I've always been of the idea in my own head that, I need to do this myself if I want it to be right. But he's really helped me to learn that I need to trust my team and trust their expertise, and that's part of what's helped us grow so fast. And embracing those mentors. I have a handful of white cis males that are very much feminists that work for and with the company, and it's accepting all kinds of knowledge, as long as we're not looking at any particular individual for the way that they look. We're looking at them for their skill set and for their knowledge base, and accepting that and accepting how that can help my business grow. That's what's really turned this up so fast and taken us so far so fast. Where investments are concerned, we actually created a limited partnership utilizing the the opportunity zone laws that were created last year. And so we were able to take in funds from angel investors who are able to pull cap gains. And if you pull cap gains and put them into an opportunity zone fund, then you pull those gains out in 10 years. No matter what the exit, it could be 10x, it could be 20x, it could be 2x. There's no taxation. So it's a great incentive for our angel investors. And that way we were actually able to kind of handpick where our investments are coming from. And we wanted to make sure that they were really on board with our social mission, because we've taken our social mission and we put it on equal footing with our profitability. And that social mission is really rooted in gender equality and equity, in women's health and women's sexual health and wellness and education, and advocacy for the LGBTQ communities. Mm-hmm. So, and they see the value in that. They see the profitability in that because they're investors. But that's where that money has come from. We haven't taken any money from VC, not to say that we won't. But right now it doesn't look like we will need to. We'll be able to reach, get post-rev before we have to take money again. We may open a round when we start working on our next big focus, which is going to be integrating our products to become the haptic feedback platform for VR. So we're actually hoping to be one of the first companies to have a haptic platform for people with vaginas having a VR sexual experience.
Okay, so I need you to take that down one level of technology speak and let me see if I understand what you're saying. Because I don't know what haptic means. But are you saying that you are going to be getting, even simpler, when you install an app on your phone or your computer and they say, can you send data back to Apple so it can make this product better? And we can, if we have problems, and we can send the errors back to here and we can make our product better. Is that similar? Like this product will then send data and feedback to, your company, and then you would then translate that into the virtual reality sexual experience for women that doesn't include the ceiling or, girl on girl, like what your friend experienced at the show. And is that what you were saying, or is that a fantasy of mine?
If let's say you have a VR headset, and you have because there are plenty of VR companies right now that are really taking a close look at VR sexual experiences. So you would be able to take our product, and they would be able to license our product, and we create a developer's toolkit so that they can use our product to receive sensation while they're having a VR experience.
Oh my God.
Okay.
That is incredible. Wow.
Well, I think that answers it, Emily. There is no need for a boyfriend.
I was just thinking the same thing. Oh my.
I've been single so long, and now I can just continue to be single. It's okay. Yeah. Because
my needs will be met.
My needs will be met by myself, but my hands will be free. And what'd be really great is if you can get it so that it'll read my mind.
Working on that. We talked to a company while we were down at South by Southwest. They're actually working on technologies that can take instruction by how you focus.
Okay.
I only know some really high level stuff, but it's a brain trainer. It's a focus trainer. So we've looked at some really interesting ideas, like how can I take this thing that trains you how to focus? You literally put a headband, you look a little 40, only it's on your forehead, and it actually reads brainwaves and chemical interactions by the sweat that it feels on your temples. And I could be wrong about this. And you're able to drive a little car around a racetrack.
Just by focus on the brain. Wow.
Based on focus.
Oh my gosh.
So we were like, oh.
Yeah.
I can tie that to the Ose Massager. Michelle can finally have her massager that reads her mind,
Yeah. So I was like, oh, well, speaking of which.
can it bring me a glass of wine?
Probably. Well, then you have your
You
your
know,
little robot that
yeah,
will,
that's
right?
right.
You know,
Right.
that will respond to, Alexa will bring you the
Time for
wine.
more wine.
Right.
Well, this is absolutely fascinating. Every aspect of it.
Yeah.
But I was curious what you're doing as a company to, I mean, you're getting the word out. Are people also responding to the fact that the Consumer Electronics Show finds female orgasms immoral, obscene, and profane? Or, I mean, has that actually turned out to be like a really good thing for your company that they did this?
Yeah, they couldn't have done us a bigger favor, honestly. It's that's actually what helped us to really solidify our social mission and realize that we want to be truly engaged in social activism in these spaces, because we got such an amazing, resounding amount of support from all different kinds of demographics. Very, very little, very few trolls so far, but I haven't really gone on Reddit. I think I'm going to stay away.
Yeah,
But
why bother?
yeah, so and that's kind of part of like how we approach that too, is I don't really engage with the trolls anyway, but we have gotten an amazing amount of support. And yes, I think it is definitely because we planned the whole thing. The whole, like, it wasn't just we were like, oh, they took our award away, we're mad. They took our award away, and then we sat on that information, and we gathered information for 3 months. And then we released that press release the day before CES went live, and we ended up getting more coverage than CES did. Yeah, I mean, we have international articles, more than 200 international articles, all over the place. And I actually just came back from Israel, because I was speaking at the Forbes Women's Summit in Tel Aviv about this, and it's created a lot of noise, but it's a lot of people are really realizing that it really is time for change, and we're not just here to talk about it. We're not here to complain about it. I'm here to actually make change, and that starts with changing policies like the ones at the CTA, and that's the Consumer Technology Association, and those are some things I would like to see change. And I think that I think they made a mistake. That's true. They made a mistake. It was a huge oversight on their part, and they tried to sweep it under the rug. But I expect that we may see change with that, and I would be, I'm not mad about it. It was really disappointing at the time, but they've got plenty of room to still make change, and they're a huge leader in the tech industry. So I would expect them to pioneer this space.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it seems to me, and I was when you're talking about how they reacted and they try to sweep it under the rug, it seems just sort of just like a little parallel to how a man would react to a woman who was complaining about the fact that the sexual experience wasn't that great, and we'll just try to quiet you down, and you'll go away, and then well, you didn't, and now they have to kind of face the fact that they screwed up, but they can change. And then I also think, what kind of powerful world we will live in when every woman can actually be enjoying and having orgasms that they can give themselves, and along with partners being there or not. And then, I mean, that releases so much tension and brings in joy. And then, that feeds out into our society.
Totally. I'm sad that this product has taken as long as it has to become available to us as women. I would have loved to have been able to be in my 20s and 30s and having blooded orgasms all the time, and that empowerment that comes with that, having great sexual experiences. But I am so happy about what this means for the younger generation of women out there.
Yeah.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. And and as the result of that, the
right,
women being stronger and more
it's hugely empowering too. I mean, when I spoke at Forbes, we were there for the whole week. It was a really amazing experience. Met some amazing people. But we had an experience with a gentleman the first night that we were there, who was extremely offensive and was like groping people in one of the parties, and
One of the parties you were hosting, or
that was hosted by Forbes.
okay.
And it's a women's conference, and it's in tandem with their 30 under 30 summit. So it's young women, and there was somebody there that was extremely offensive. He was touching people inappropriately, and I actually had to take his hand and pull it off of one of my interns, and who's 20 years old. And he was a little terrified. Most of the women that were there were, and they didn't want to say anything because they didn't want to be viewed as being bitchy or complaining.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening is that he confronted me and got right in my face, and he was like trying to glom on me and like touch me, and it like really freaked me out. So I pushed him off, and actually, strangely enough, this is part of my favorite part. Actually, is this little woman who was like maybe 5'4", like $120, just cutest thing, had bright blue contacts in, looked maybe Vietnamese or Chinese American, and she grips him off me and is like, "You don't touch my friend." And I was just like, "I don't know this guy. Why is he touching me?" And I walked away, and I was just like kind of in shock a little bit. So I didn't even get her name. And I walk away, and I tell the women I'm with, I'm like, "Hey, I'm going to go report this guy. He just like nearly attacked me outside of the bathroom, and this is enough." And all of them were like, "Are you sure you want to do that?" Like everybody's like, "Do you want to rock the boat?" Kind of, that kind of air. And I turn around and my intern
kind of thing. Is it
Yeah,
like, yeah,
turn
right.
around to look at my intern, and she's like, "No, don't make a big deal out of it." And just in time to see him put his arm around her, come up from behind her, hand on her neck. And I was just like, "You've got to be kidding me." So I went after him. Somebody pulled him off, and I got to her and I said, "What did he do? What did he do to you? You say it." And she was like, "It's not a big deal. Don't make a big deal out of it." And I was like, "You tell me what he did to you. You say it out loud." And she was like, "He put his arm around me." And I was like, "And what?" And she was like, "He grabbed my neck and he squeezed my neck."
Oh
And
my God.
I was livid, and I marched right out front, and I tell security, I was like, "I want to speak with your head of security." And I talked to this man who English was not a first language. So I was like, "There's a man inside. He is touching multiple women. You need to remove him immediately. I want to show you what he's doing. May I touch you?" And he was like, "Yeah." So I grabbed him, and I was like, "He's doing this." And then he did this to my intern, and he like went like this, and he's like, "Does he look like this?" And I was like, "Yes." And they ripped him out of there immediately. But what happened after that was even more interesting. Um, we sent an email to Forbes that night, and demanding that he be removed from the summit. And I was a little scared. I was afraid that maybe they would remove me for making too much noise.
Mhm.
And I got an email the next morning when we were on our way back to the conference, and it said, "Thank you for your email. We will be waiting for you when you get here, and we will talk." And I was like, "Oh shit, I hope I don't get kicked out of this. This is not good." I don't like, I'm afraid, because I've been a woman in that space.
Yeah.
And I
We all
get there. Yeah, I get there, and I take my intern, I take my director of marketing, and we walk down to the basement office, and I'm just like, shit. And they sit down, and they're like, "We are so devastatingly sorry that happened to you. Before you ever sent that email, we had already removed him. We took his bracelet, we took his pass. He will not be back, and you should never have to put up with that." And that's coming from like straight from the top at their conference. And I was and my intern sitting there watching this whole thing like, "Oh my gosh, they're not mad at us." And I was like, "Damn right, they're not mad at us." But at the same time, we're sitting there thinking we might get in trouble. But they really like stepped up to the plate. I was really just really impressed by how they handled it, and that they took such swift action. And because
and because you didn't stay quiet. I mean, you could have said, "Yeah, you're right, guys. Well, let's he's gone.
yeah.
Let's just be quiet. Let's just we don't want people to be upset with us. We're trying to sell some products,
We've been
and
trained to be quiet for
Mhm.
so many years,
Yes.
and this problem happens all the time. Gosh, just a couple of nights ago, I was out with a friend of mine and, had the same experience with the sleazy guy feeling like he can put his hand on the small of the back and just, and we could not shake him. And he even followed us to a second event. And it was like, and I just, I thought a lot about it retrospectively. I'm like, why was I not bitchier to him? Like I didn't do anything to encourage his behavior, but I also didn't like make a scene and shut him down. And I should have, but he's also friends of lots of other friends. And I was worried about, what that
Making him
looks
feel
like.
bad.
And
Why are you being so bitchy? What's wrong with you? Like he was just a little drunk.
That's
That's exactly how everybody, oh, he was just a little drunk. And I'm like, that's no excuse. That's never an excuse.
That's
And
exactly what someone said.
the silver lining to the whole story is that one, I was so impressed with Forbes. They were absolutely wonderful hosts. And it was one of the most incredible experiences that I've ever had. And I was so enamored with them. Their whole staff was absolutely wonderful. But not only that, but there were so many, this was also the 30 under 30 folks, remember. So there are a whole lot of 20-year-olds, 20-something-year-old women. And my intern, one of them, who's 20 years old, was so empowered.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you.
In Tel Aviv, and she turned around and she turned into a little bulldog afterwards. She actually just sent me an email last night, and she was like, "You know what I did? It's spring break here, and we went out and we were partying, and guys were touching me, and you know what? I stood up for myself. I was a bitch, Laura." And I was like, "Go you, yes."
Yeah,
love
and
it.
it was like we talked about these things, and every woman, you forget what it's like to be that age and feel like you have no voice, and to feel trained that you're not allowed to say anything, and that you should just be nice and just brush it off. Oh, he was just a little drunk. No, fuck that guy. That guy needs to go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know that one of the things that has hit me as an adult about like not rocking the boat was the movie Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah.
When the cop who's investigating finds himself at the killer's house, right? And he figures everything out. He's like, "Oh, we're at the killer's house." And he goes to leave, and the killer meets him in the driveway and invites him back in for tea. And so the detective goes back in for tea, and they're having tea in the killer's house. And the killer says to him, "You could have just walked away, but instead you were afraid of being rude, and now I'm going to kill you." You know? And it was like, wow, how many choices are we given when we're just too afraid of being rude to somebody, and instead we put ourselves in harm's way.
Yeah.
And that's exactly, had that man not been, and obviously he wasn't called out earlier by other women that he was touching. And so he thought he'd get more bolder, and I can do this, I can do that, because I am this guy. And he needed to be called out by the very first woman who touched him. So we as women need to speak up. And if somebody touches you inappropriately, no, you don't get to put your hand on my back. I didn't tell you you could. I was on a cruise ship one time, and this guy comes up and he like smacks me on the butt, and I go, "Excuse me, I didn't tell you could touch me on my butt." "What?" I said, "Yeah, no, you don't get to touch me." Right?
Yeah, and it's funny. Like, they're like, "Oh, well, I didn't mean anything by it," and it's like, yeah, but it's my body.
Exactly.
You don't touch it. It doesn't, it's mine.
Right.
And I don't care if you're just trying to be friendly. I don't know you.
Well,
And even if I do, like you don't just touch people that you don't know, or you don't know where they're like how they feel about that. I don't care if you're just trying to be friendly or if you're trying to be a total dick. Just don't do it.
Right. They say, like, my statement would be like, why do you touch me out when I don't want you to? And when I'm trying to tell you how to touch me, you think it falls on deaf ears, and then you don't want to touch. It's like, whatever, I can't.
Well, and I think a lot of men would be pretty excited if you were just walking by and slap them on the ass. They would maybe, that same guy who's slapping women on the ass, those are the guys that would be like, "Ooh, hey." They would be turned on by that,
Yeah.
So it's not like you could play dirty you know,
You like get him
right.
back at his own game.
show them what it feels like. You know, I think that
Right.
right.
Yeah,
And
those,
I mean,
those are
yeah.
predators. They just need to be
Although
shut
9
down.
to 5, I do love that movie. I do love
We've talked about that
yes,
on an episode before.
how those ladies take control and show them exactly what it's like.
Oh, is that like a
Dolly Parton. It's like
no?
9 to 5.
Working
Oh,
9 to 5.
It's a way to make a living. Yeah.
Dun, dun,
okay.
dun, dun, dun.
Great
like-
movie. It's Lily Tomlin.
Okay, I don't think I think I know what you're talking
Wanda,
about. but
Dolly
it's-
Parton,
yeah,
right?
okay, I know what you're talking about. I've never seen it.
Oh, you need to. Oh, it's on your movie list. You've got to watch it now.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think now.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, besides kiteboarding, creating fabulous personal massagers and sex toys for women, what else makes you tick and makes you enjoy getting up and living this fabulous life that you have?
Well, it's mostly work right now. If I wasn't working as much as we do right now, it would, yes, a lot more kiteboarding. I'm kind of an adventure junkie, so a lot of mountain bike riding, road bike riding, rock climbing, which is a fun one for me. I'm a dance addict for sure. I'm actually super excited because our headquarters is in Bend, Oregon, in Central Oregon, right? And I last lived in Portland, where there was a really great dance studio down by the river that I used to go to all the time. And so I've been living out here in Bend for about 2 years, and there's nowhere to dance. And they just opened up a new studio that's gonna open in like 2 weeks, and I'm so excited.
Wow.
Like it's like hip hop, it's lyrical, it's jazz, and a whole lot of pole
A whole lot of what? I'm sorry.
dancing.
Oh, fabulous.
We just had an episode with a friend of ours that
Yeah.
pole dances, and then we're coming up later in the season. We are having another guest on who has her own pole dancing studio here in St. Louis, and so that's just like ironic. That,
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I'm so excited. It's called it's actually, I love the name of the place. I met the founder, and her name's Christina, and she's just freaking fabulous. And honestly, like, I thought about this. I was like, if I could retire tomorrow and do anything, I would probably still want to work. I would probably want to open up a dance studio that had a wine bar in it. But
fantastic.
but it's called
love it.
Sexy Dance Studio, or Sexy Dance, and it's SEKSE with an accent
Accented.
on it. And I was like, oh, you clever girl, you.
Yeah. Oh, that
Fantastic.
sounds great. So you're definitely an adrenaline junkie. You like to get endorphins moving.
Yeah,
And
if I can jump out a plane or jump off a bridge and bungee jump, I love that kind of stuff. I'm actually speaking at Circular Summit that's in Napa Valley on May 9th and 10th next month, and they have an adventure track where they take their speakers and their mentors, and you get to lead an adventure. So I'm going to be leading or helping guide a river rafting trip while apparently giving business advice to
On the
people. Yeah,
Well,
alongside, and I'm nervous about this, alongside the CEO, Wendy of Urban Decay Makeup.
oh, wow. Oh
I'm
my
excited.
gosh. That's really cool.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
that's good alignment for
fangirling.
you.
well,
Huh?
That's good alignment for you.
Yeah.
I think that same weekend I'm going to be mopping my floor and cleaning out my closets.
We might have
and,
to go to that summit.
recovering from my 50th birthday party the week
That's true.
before. That's
Yeah.
probably what I'll be doing, and
Oh,
counting down the days till my own Ose Massager shows
I
up.
know. We need our own little countdown
Happy
calendar.
coming up birthday. Oh, 50's fun. That'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. Actually, I
Yeah.
think when this airs, I'll already be 50.
I think you're right.
I think I
That's
will already
very
be
true.
50 when this airs. So people who are listening, this is my under 50 voice.
It's going to completely change in a couple of days.
It'll sound so much older and wiser, on episodes that air in end of May. Yeah, no, this is great. I have totally enjoyed our conversation. We have got like a sip or two left of our wine.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you finish yours?
Almost there.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
Fantastic.
good.
We will have all of this information on our website, Lora, and Emily and I are going to be on your. I know
Definitely
we're
on our
already on
list.
your list, and hopefully
Yeah.
we're going to be able to, get one of those in. And I'd love to have like a follow-up conversation after we've, after we've tried to break your product.
I'll send you a trophy.
A clitorally speaking trophy in the shape of a vulva or something like that. Like the little button that flashes, and LED lights up. Oh, you won. It's like a slot machine.
Starts making all sorts of noises.
I don't know if you have this with your product, but possibly some audio encouragement. Like some people do need like slot machine noises, or like money falling down. It's like, like you're almost there, and like you have your orgasm, and then like the bells and whistles go off, and like some applause.
Yay,
you're like, oh,
good job.
Like balloons and streamers falling from the
because for some women they may not know that actually was the orgasm, right? They'd be like, well, I don't, that was a strange feeling, but was that an orgasm? I mean, they may not know.
Yeah. No, and that was actually well, I don't know. When I finally had an orgasm, because it actually took me a long time to have a clitoral orgasm. I could have G-spot or an internal orgasms, but I didn't really discover my clitoris until I was like in my like mid 20s, and I was like, whoa, whoa, that's what that's for. And
I liked riding my bicycles.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, and I used to I used to ride motorcycles too, so I used to like race crotch rockets and like really, really like riding that one. That's I can't quite figure out why, but yeah, it's when you get there, it's like there's no question. So I'm excited for especially for the women that have never had an orgasm. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
I think it would probably be neat, and if you already are doing this within your community with the women's empowerment and sexual health, and especially if you have you're gonna have women who have never had an orgasm, but maybe there's a safe space within your Facebook community or through your website where they can like interact and like, okay, this is what happened to me, and like some sharing and support back and forth, so that they know that that's how you're supposed to feel.
Yeah, you're supposed to roll off your bed.
Well, and I mean, so many people are meant to feel like there's something wrong with them because they haven't gotten there yet, and there's nothing wrong with your body. I mean, it's just you just need to take the time to love your body and experiment and really explore exactly what you like, and it's gonna be different from somebody else, and that's completely okay. That's what makes us special. So yeah, that's a great idea. I like that.
Little gift there to you. Well, Lora,
thank you so much for
coming on our show.
Delight.
And you are a delight, and we will be talking to you.
Yes.
How are you? Thank you very much.
Happy orgasms.
Happy orgasms.
Cheers.
Thank you.